Hello and welcome everyone to another episode. Yes, so I have been working on the Duna base alpha. This is kind of the second part of the launch. This is all the connectors and just everything, the solar panels, the connectors, just everything. I really have no real good name for them. I guess branch connections or, whatever scientific name you really want to come up with, I just don't know. So the one thing I'm going to mention right now, I've been mentioning it here and there, is the subscriber submissions is always open. So for those of you who want to see me fly something you have created, feel free to submit it at any time. I will be doing an episode here fairly soon, along with, the episode of, well, the next episode of the career mode will be out pretty soon. I've been kind of working on something new right now. It involves a game I just recently bought, which is Terraria, which I have never played before, other than recently, and it going on sale on the Steam store kind of had something to do with it, and a few other things kind of led me towards buying that game. So, but it's been pretty good. That's all I can say. It definitely is going to be some good stuff coming up here pretty soon, but yeah, so I ended up having to test this thing like crazy and really come out with something that is really going to definitely work. And I ended up coming up with this design, and it is heavily complex, but at the same time, I really hope it really does its function, at least somewhat well. There are a few different things that I'm really hesitant about as far as them working, which I will cover once we start getting closer to orbit. And yeah, so I've been having a little bit of fun these last couple days. That's all I can say. Other news, I have started on, for those of you who have been a part of my channel for a while, you kind of know about this, and I ended up starting work on something called Delta V without tears. And sadly, I ended up password protecting the worksheet, and a lot of my data I basically can't recover because of that. So I have started once again on really trying to get Delta V without tears completed and done. I don't really know how far I'm going to get with it, but I'm going to keep trying at it. And it's like I know most of the calculations, so that's not the problem. It's just the implementation and design and heavy design and just learning Excel and everything else. Definitely not my most fine point as far as learning programs is concerned. I know how to use Excel, but implementing stuff into a design and trying to figure out new ways of doing old things is always definitely something that really takes a while. So nothing else really has been that new other than Terraria. I'm probably gonna get a series out here pretty soon. I know a few people know what I'm talking about, but that definitely is going to be a little bit fun. I'm still going to be doing Kerbal every day. I just don't want you guys to think that I'm going to start switching over to other games or anything like that. No fear, Kerbal will always be a part of this channel, and I'll always make sure that I'm doing something with Kerbal, always. So, at least daily, but there might be days here and there, maybe peppered in the next coming months, where there might be no Kerbal episode, but something else. So, I don't want to get you guys too worried about that. Let's see, this is so not staged correctly. Let's see, there we go. There we go, perfect. See, I'm glad I checked that. That way I didn't have to shoot the episode again, because I wouldn't have been very happy about that in any kind of way. So I'm really curious as to whether we're actually going to achieve an orbit. Not that I have low hopes for this thing, but there is a part of me that's kind of like, this is a little bit too heavy to be doing this. As you can see, it's a little, it's a tidbit heavy. I did do some calculations on it, and I think we're going to be okay, but that's kind of, once again, a pretty big okay. So, I mean, you can see we're slowly getting ourselves into orbit. It's going to take a little bit of time, but, once again, I always got stuff to talk about, so... questions and answers, too, is another thing that I always enjoy, and if you guys always have questions for me, I don't mind answering them, as long as they're not too, personal. I mean, certain things I'm okay with answering, but there's a certain line I will draw, but, ask away. I don't mind answering questions for each episode. One of them was, where did my name come from, or how, I thought it was Goose 11 or Goosexi. See, that's kind of open for your interpretation in a way, kind of. See, what ended up happening is, a long time ago, I used to play this game. I don't know if you heard about it, but it's called World of Warcraft, and Goose was taken. So, but I was actually the original Goose on the server I was on, so I actually, got the name before anybody else, which is kind of remarkable, because it's kind of one of those popular names in, gaming and everything else. It's like the top 3 military names anyone uses in shooters is Goose or Maverick, and for flying games, and then you got Private Joker for any first-person shooter. So anybody, but that's a different story. So anyways, my brother was Maverick, I was Goose, my brother's friend was Wolfman, and we used to play Halo Combat Evolved, the original combat, or the original Halo, and that was like our thing. We used to play that online and on Xbox through Xbox Connect, and that was like many moons ago when I was just a wee lad. But I had some fun with that, and my name back then was a little bit different too. I had a few different names I went by, but Goose was kind of the one I ended up settling on, and then I played World of Warcraft, and I ended up creating a whole bunch of characters, and one of them happened to be Goosexi, and that happened to be the account that I enjoyed playing the most. So it went from, a few different names to Goose, then to a few different kind of variants of like Goose, then I kind of just settled on Goosexi, and I was like, okay. But it was also meant to represent Goose 11 as well, but then some people started just calling me Goosexi, so I really didn't know where to go with that, so I was just like, whatever, Goosexi. So let's see where our orbit is at. I don't know what the altitude of this thing... Alright, 225. We're at 197. That's not bad. So I think I'll cover a little bit of this craft before we get a complete orbit. Oh, we got a little bit of lights here too, I think. Let's see. No lights. I'll wait till we get to the light side. That way you guys can see it. I mean, I know you guys can see it faintly, and I can see it, but I would rather you guys have like a full picture of it. And this thing is gotta be the most complex thing I will ever try to land on a atmosphere, in another atmosphere, on another planet or anything. So it took a lot of time in development. Basically, these 2 long pieces that you see coming out here are the solar arrays, and those will be connected once it's on the ground. The 2 pieces here are basically the connector portions that will probably end up being connected to one side or the other. And let's see, these pieces right here are the like basic elbow pieces, or whatever you want to call them. They basically just shift it into a different direction. Those took a little while to figure out, mostly because I needed it to have enough parachutes to land, and I also needed it to have enough parachutes to where it would be 100% safe on landing, because it would be landing basically on these structural pieces right here. And I should really start my periapsis burn here, or whatever. Not my periapsis, but oh no, never mind. I'll start my burn here in a second. Retrograde, not, or prograde. Yeah. Well, I'm just like out of it today. It's been a little while since I've actually kind of messed around with the game here and there, other than the career mode, so that's been a little fun. I haven't really gotten too far in it, obviously you guys can see what I've done, but, I hope you guys have been enjoying that. You can let me know, whatever. I always enjoy reading your comments, obviously, but, yeah, this thing has really just been the biggest pain. And now the way that you see it, basically the way it's sitting right now, is how it will be actually, this one right here, how it will be actually sitting on the ground. I cannot extend the ground to the lander legs, because it will probably destroy this entire craft. But this right here will be kind of the main elbow piece, and that will be more to push these big, just massive solar panels kind of out of the way of the base. That way they have their own kind of solar powered area, and they have their own area separate from the base. The one thing I'm thinking about doing as well, and I'm not 100% certain about this, is I'm thinking about bringing like maybe an RCS tank along and trying to get a fuel tank down on the surface of Duna. The main problem with getting the fuel down is just mainly because I have to build a rocket. Let's see, I don't want, oh yeah, I already definitely blew the orbit by like a crazy amount. I should really be paying attention to these things. I'm going to be refueling this craft anyways, so I'm not too concerned. Most of these craft that I've been launching have to be refueled, and also have to have a lot more extra added onto them so we can make the trip to Duna. So that is kind of why I've been selective as far as what I'm going to be showing you guys, because I want this to kind of fall on the 200 episode mark, but I can't guarantee you that this is going to fall on the 200 episode mark. There's a part of me that thinks that there might just end up falling somewhere near it, either like probably 1 or 2 episodes afterwards, but close. So I'm okay with this a little bit, because I was kind of caught off guard. I didn't know how many episodes that the Jewel Explorer was going to take up. I thought there might have been 1 or 2 more episodes out of the entire trip that I might have had to make, but just didn't know. So that kind of falls on my stupidity or whatever. But so what's going to end up happening is I'm going to launch 2 more of these crafts. One of these in one of the Duna base alpha modules, basically, but it's going to be specifically for its moon. And that will be a moon base, and this one will be a Duna base, and one will be a moon base. So it is going to be kind of hectic. I don't know if I'm going to actually show the launching of those 2. You guys can let me know about that. And let's see, I'm trying to think. There's something else I wanted to do as well. I think I might launch a core module to a space station, just one piece, and that's it. Maybe kind of like the Kerbal Space Station. I might launch just one piece and get that into orbit. Maybe change a few things. I like the Kerbal Space Station design. I just got to change some stuff with it. So it might be kind of roughly the similar style, but I'll try to do something a little bit different than the Kerbal Space Station. And I also need to launch a fuel. Fuel base, which that is kind of already taken care of for the most part as far as the modules and everything else is concerned. and there was something else I'm thinking, but this is just kind of like a what if. Satellite network, but we're definitely going to send a refueling ship out there as well. One of my regular Kerbal refuelers, I think just stock carries enough fuel to make it all the way to Duna. So I don't even think I'm going to have to even touch anything with that and really add on anything other than, I think, a big docking port, which I'm not too concerned with. So I just needed to explain all of this stuff to you, and just all the things I need to launch in order for everything, the colonization of Duna, all at once. I want to launch everything in one episode and send everything there in one episode, hopefully. And the satellite network is a big what if. I'm not too concerned about that, but we'll see what we can get as far as if that's going to be a possibility. You guys let me know, and let me know if you guys are somewhat excited about this. I mean, I'm pretty pumped myself. I'm just not looking forward to the amount of uncertainty with certain things, like landing in an atmosphere as opposed to landing on the surface of a moon that I've never actually landed on before, as far as with like an actual lander other than a probe. So I really want to be sure that I do everything correctly. Now, I'm sorry that this episode has ran on so long, and it's been mostly of me talking and explaining everything, but this, you can see this craft falls into, and this is the other thing too, is this piece here, this whole upper portion is a sky crane that has to work. It has to work, otherwise this whole thing doesn't work. There will be a separate sky crane that comes with the Duna base, and that will be a part of a landing, so hopefully that all stays together and everything just works ever so perfectly, which I really have my fingers crossed about. But yeah, that just is, in a nutshell, everything that has to come together just perfectly. So anyways, guys, thank you for watching. If you like what you see here, subscribe. There's always more to come. Be sure to check out the person at the end of the video. Mr. Plastic Sporks is the feature of the week in the upper right-hand corner, I believe. It should still be right there. And, yeah, I will see you next time.